You wallpapering around a window. If you don't do this procedure, this piece right here will never meet up with this piece right here. You'll have an overlap, or you'll have a gap. So the piece underneath the window and this piece to the right of my hand here get installed together. You see up at the top corner right here, the wallpaper hinges imperceptibly. Naturally speaking, you break the 90-degree angle a little bit, and that's what causes the wallpaper to overlap onto the sheet underneath the window. If you lock down that sheet underneath the window and then decide to hang the sheet that wraps around the window to the right of the window, you'll see that it overlaps because you failed to maintain that outer sheet perfectly plumb. And so it hinges. If it hinges too much to the right, you will overlap underneath the window. If you hinge upward, that outer sheet that will fall on my laser line right now in this video, if you hinge upward because of your applying the wallpaper against the wall and you miss it, that it hinges upward, naturally speaking, you'll have a gap from this outer sheet that I'm doing right now and the sheet that's under the window. So if you use a plumb line from the wallpaper sheet that you see right above the window and you measure out 20.5 inches in this case, you'll know where your wallpaper sheet should end. And that's why we use a laser line, because that's where it should end. And then we'll have a very good idea of where it should end at the bottom as well. I had to do a voiceover in this video because the customer was playing copyrighted music, and you can't use anyone else's music in your videos and produce your own video. Can't do it. So I had to eliminate the sound. I hope I'm making it clear in this video what I mean. Let me try to explain it in a different way. You see this sheet that I'm now holding? Let's say that I didn't line it up perfectly as I'm doing right now. Let's just say it's not perfect. Let's say I put my hand in the center of it, right in front of my chest, and I swivel it. I make a gap between the sheet that I'm holding right now and the sheet to the left of it. I swivel it. I bring the lower part on top of the wallpaper over the window. I bring the upper part near my head away from the sheet above the window. Well, you know at the bottom, under the window, it's going to overlap onto the sheet underneath the window. Well, that's essentially what happens when you go around a window. And you might be really good at what you do. You might be a great paper hanger. But you can't for the life of you figure out why your wallpaper is not lining up with the sheet that you've already installed, and it's already embedded underneath the window. You say there's a gap. This happened to me years ago underneath a long 9-foot window, and I said, what is going on here? And you know what I did? I filled in the gap by splicing wallpaper into the gap. I simply joined it by adding wallpaper. Like, let's say you lose flesh. Well, the doctor is going to take new flesh and fill in the gap, right? Let's just say you lost flesh by some puncture. He's going to have to join your skin from the healthy side to the other healthy side to fill in where you lost flesh. It's just the same idea. But that was my remedy then. But I realized that when you go around a window, that you must understand that the sheet needs to maintain its plumb on the right-hand side. You see to the right of my head right there? If that is not straight, as is the sheet to its left, you are going to have either an overlap underneath the window or a gap. It's really that simple. I think right now we all got it, right? You understand what I mean? I just realized that I made it perfectly clear. So you might be wondering, what about this bit about the wallpaper in the return right now? You see under my left hand there? You see that part of the window that goes in toward the glass? Well, that's called a return or a window casing, right? I've heard it referred to something else recently, a window box. Sort of like a box, isn't it? Well, if you do what I'm doing here, you'll see that that wallpaper gets filled in. It gets filled in. In this particular case, my wallpaper, which my body is blocking right now, filled in the return halfway. No, about 3/4 of the way. And I think you'll see it later on in the video when I move my body here. It filled in, it went in about 3/4 of the way. So all you do is, like what we always do, you just take another sheet of wallpaper and you match it up. You're not always going to fill in the return completely when you wrap a window. And in this case, the customer just had enough wallpaper. I got 3 sheets per roll from this wallpaper. And there was no wallpaper to spare. Okay. So, if you have any questions, just please leave them below. I'm fast forwarding here. You can see now, to the left of my body, the gap that is in the return. You can see the white there, where the wallpaper ends. So I just waited until I got to the end of the job to see which scrap I could use to fill that in. You see it? There you go. Now you can see it more clearly. Here, I took a picture of it. You see where there's the gap? Don't worry if you get that. You just fill it in as you would hanging wallpaper normally. Just add a piece to it. Okay, there's our piece underneath the window. Now, where I'm pointing right there is wet. I can slide it left to right. That sheet is newly installed. It's wet to the right of that space. It's really drying to the left of the space, but to the right, it's wet. So if I have to slide it over a half an inch, if you didn't do a great job and you gotta, guess what? There's play in this. There you go. I spoke about it in the video. I just couldn't play it because there was music going on. You see? You see, there's my piece. You see, I can move it over. That's what I was gesturing in this video, knowing that I would probably have to do a voiceover. Now I can move this piece. It's still wet and it's still movable. See? I can move it this way, 1/4 of an inch. I can still move this piece over here if I had to. Okay? So believe it or not, this middle piece is, I don't want to say the last piece in this whole puzzle, but it's in conjunction with another piece. Okay? Like if you were going to finish here for the day, you would install this piece in conjunction with this one. But since we're going around this and we're going to finish this today, we're installing this in conjunction with this seam. So we're going to make sure our seam over here is all matched up. And then we're going to work on this one. And here's the benefit of doing it like this. I can move this piece here a bit. I can move this piece here a bit to make this line up. So when you're satisfied, all of your little leaves or whatever you have matching up is all matched up, then you can go ahead and trim it. So we're done. This is wrapping a window, and I hope you like the effect. Please make a comment. It took a long time to edit this video.